I would like to welcome you all, our participants from 21 countries. Mabuhay! Thank you for joining us for today's free MAI webinar, Beyond Words, the Editor-Author Relationship. We're glad to see 51 of you register for this webinar. This is Ramon Rocha greeting you on behalf of MAI. Towards the end of our session, feel free to ask questions using both the Q&A and chat windows. If you're an author, don't ever think that you don't need an editor. Every writer needs an editor. Agree? If you're an author, let me remind you that the editor is not your enemy. He or she is there to help you. How can an author and an editor work as a team? How can they have a harmonious relationship? Our speaker today is Ms. Yna Reyes. She's the Publishing and Communications Director at OMF Literature in the Philippines. Yna recently celebrated her 29th year of faithful service in the publishing ministry. She's a member of the board of MAI Asia. She has led editorial trainings in a few Asian countries and at Lit World conferences. Yna also authored 4 children's books, so she truly understands the dynamics of the editor-author relationship, as she is both an author and an editor. So we're grateful to Yna for serving as our presenter today. Friends, let us all welcome Ms. Yna Reyes.
Thank you, sir. I call Ramon sir, Mr. Rocha, because I've worked with him for more than 10 years, I think. Yeah. So good morning, good evening, wherever you are, if it's morning, if daytime or evening, the greeting is for you. So tonight I'll be sharing with you a condensed version of a learning session that I facilitated among book editors at the Lit World 2018 in Singapore. So I'll be speaking primarily to the editors in this group, but authors, you will just be eavesdropping. No, I'm just kidding. But I hope you will have a few takeaways as well. So when I was preparing for this material, I was thinking about how best to describe the editor-author relationship. And the phrase that came to my mind was beyond words. Why beyond words? Beyond words because I believe that in the ministry of Christian book publishing, the relationship of the editor and the author is of utmost importance. Its value to me is beyond words. Also, when the editor and the author work together to develop a manuscript, what they're actually doing is not just putting words together or choosing the right words to convey a message, but so much more. More than that. Like when they work together, a mysterious work dynamics emerges that is beyond wordsmithing. And thirdly, the fruits of an effective editor-author relationship are simply beyond words. Their partnership produces a book that can give readers not only reading pleasure, but that can create an impact that is life-changing, long-lasting, and eternal. And for both the editor and the author, the relationship that grows in the many months or even years that they have been working together and learning together, that relationship can be most satisfying, enriching, and life-giving for both of them. They can even become the best of friends. So with me in this photo is Dr. Luis Catmaypan, our best-selling children's book author who has won so many literary awards through the years. I've been blessed with the opportunity of working with him on this book, Sandosenang Zapatos, or in English, A Dozen Pairs of Shoes. This was first published in 2002, and this book is already a classic in children's book literature in the Philippines. Like, it was chosen by the International Board on Books for Young People as one of the outstanding books for young people with disabilities. It has been translated to Bahasa Indonesia and Thai, and a Japanese translation is underway. And its story has been turned into a few musicals. And this June, the story will be retold and presented in ballet. I've worked with Doc Luis, we call him Tito Doc or Doc Luis. I've worked with him on more than 10 children's books, and we've been friends for more than 20 years. So I'm glad we have this photo. This was taken last year at the Manila International Book Fair, because this, I think, shows what an editor-author relationship can be like. And I actually now I have a photo to use as a cover for my webinar. Anyway, I will focus my presentation on what I believe are the building blocks of an effective editor-author relationship. And these are trust, mutual respect, collaboration, communication, and commitment. Let's begin with trust. The foundation of the editor-author relationship is trust. When authors turn over their work, which they often have spent hours and hours of writing and rewriting, they trust that the editor will treat it with respect and care. Most authors feel insecure and exposed when they submit a manuscript for editing. That's why they need all the reassurance that the editor can give them. So as an editor, we need to reassure our authors, give these reassuring words to our author. First, he needs to hear from you that you will understand, respect, and value the heart of his manuscript, what he wants his manuscript to do, who he wants to reach with his message, and that you, as the editor, will protect and respect his voice as the author. The author also needs to be reassured that you are here to help him. You are not here to, you are not against him, but you are here to work with him. Our primary goal is to help the author communicate with readers. As editors, our job is to help the writer focus on a reading audience, on the purpose for writing the book, and on whether the storyline, the tone, the writing flow, the style, the content, and the vocabulary effectively reach his intended readers. The author also needs to be reassured that you will tell him what the book is really like, or what the manuscript is really like. What are its strengths and weaknesses? That's why your initial review of the manuscript is important. Read the manuscript over and over again with the intent of preparing a diagnosis. In the same way that a doctor observes the vital signs of a patient before giving a medical opinion. Manuscript reviewers from representatives of the target market, manuscript reviews, from representatives of the target market are also important. The author needs to know what his target readers think about his work. The author also needs to be reassured that he will still have control over his manuscript throughout the editorial process. Reassure him that he will have the chance to read and review the edited copy before it is set to type. Also, that he will be able to review and approve the final proof before it goes to press for printing. Of course, the author expects a target date of release for the book. So Tell him the timeline, the deadline, and assure him that you will do everything you can to meet the target release date and that the book will be in excellent condition when it is released. Yes, the author needs to be properly compensated for all the time, the energy, and hard work that he devoted in writing the manuscript. So at the outset, be clear with the royalty terms in the contract. And finally, the author needs to be reassured that his manuscript or the book will reach his intended audience, that it will not sleep in your warehouse. So talk to him about concrete marketing plans and how he could get involved. So it is important from the start that we establish trust at the beginning of the editorial process. How do we do that? Here are a few suggestions. First, meet the author in a friendly environment. It may be in a coffee shop or a restaurant, and please foot the bill, charge it to your publisher, right? And in that meeting, your goal is to establish rapport with your author. Let him talk about himself and his manuscript, why he wrote it, his vision and goals for the book. In turn, tell him about yourself. Tell him about your editorial experience, the book projects you've worked on, the authors you have worked with, what you love about your job, and include some personal details, So this is important to establish rapport with your author. Second, discuss the publisher's vision and plans for the book. It will reassure the author to know that the publisher is as invested in this book as he is, and that the publisher has concrete plans to make the book succeed. Third, discuss the details of the contract. Send or email the contract before the meeting so that the author can review it and prepare his questions. Fourth, explain the editorial process and the production process in some detail. The author needs to understand what's going to happen once his manuscript goes through editing. Authors who understand the publication process are less likely to complain about delays and disappointments. And very important is, number 5, take time to pray. Pray with your author about the book project and pray for his personal concerns as well. So the trust we have sown from the start, we need to maintain throughout the editorial process. How do we do that? Here are some suggestions. First, create a nurturing environment for the achievement of mutual excellence. Promote integrity and respect with the author. He will consider your suggestions carefully and positively if he believes that you, as his editor, are acting as his friend. Embrace the fact that the two of you are in this relationship together for several months, maybe years. So you'll do best if you trust each other and work together for the good of the book at hand. Throughout the editorial process, give honest feedback and offer constructive criticism. If some elements in the manuscript do not work or are offensive to the intended readership or are theologically questionable or simply unclear, it is the editor's responsibility to work with the author to resolve the problem. Keep in mind that authors are sensitive to criticism. So always reassure the author that every edit you are making is for the improvement of the manuscript and that you are acting in good faith in what you believe is his interest. 3, be sensitive to the challenges and problems that the author may be facing. And these are not just the challenges or the problems related to the manuscript, but maybe also about his personal life. if he is open to that, to sharing that. And number 4, keep praying for the author and let him know that you and maybe your team, that you are praying for him. So, in a nutshell, as editors, we are called to be a trusted friend to the author. I'd like to share with you this quote from Writers, My Friends by Joyce Chaplin, and I have a copy of, I'll show you the copy of the book. I still have a copy of the book here, this one, by Joyce Chaplin. So, I'll read it with you. She said, in The Elements of Editing, Arthur Flotnick says that among an editor's many challenging tasks are finding good material, making it communicate, and getting it out when it is timely. Editors do this in the context of editorial caring. They not only deal with the technicalities of publishing, but they act as a sympathetic friend of writers. They encourage them technically, helping them develop writing skills, and they encourage them in their personal lives. To do this, editors, among other qualities, must have a special blend of wisdom, awareness, courage, and trust. So that's from the book, Writers, My Friends, by Joyce Chaplin. All right. The second building block of an effective editor-author relationship is mutual respect. Mutual respect between the editor and the author nurtures a growing relationship that results to mutual excellence. Mutual respect is important, especially because the editor and the author each has his unique set of skills and giftings that can be used to their full potential if they only recognize what they can, they could only recognize their roles and what they can contribute to the task at hand. In Christian publishing, the editor and the author serve the same Lord. We embrace the same mission. We share the same goals, but we are coming to the task from different angles. There are no clear-cut rules on how to go about the task, so tension and conflict could arise, and that is understandable. Editors don't always understand authors, and vice versa. Misunderstandings may arise because authors, especially first-time authors, do not understand how editors can really help them. For some authors, they think that editors are just clerks who push paper to printer, while other authors are afraid that editors might destroy their original works. So these stereotypes need to be corrected at the outset. By God's grace, the editor and the author will navigate their respective roles in a context of cooperation and teamwork, and within that context, the editor fills the necessary roles on behalf of the publisher and the author. As we all know, mutual respect is earned. How then can we earn the respect of the author that we have been called to serve? Here are some guidelines. First, follow the golden rule. Do unto others what you would have them do unto you. We should consider how we would like to be treated if we were in the author's shoes. Number 2, respect and preserve the author's voice. Every writer has a voice, no matter how weak or ill-developed. And that voice is formed by his or her culture, beliefs, and experiences. One of the biggest temptations for us editors is to encroach on the author's voice. We need to learn to edit to preserve the author's voice and to do it, to be intentional about it, particularly when working with a new author whose voice may still be weak and not fully formed. The kind of editing that we need to do here needs a soft touch with much care and gentleness. It requires more back and forth than usual. It's more like coaching, and it uses coaching style language. So editors exercise editorial restraint to avoid inadvertently injecting your voice into the manuscript. 3, give a good reason for every suggestion you are making. This helps establish and maintain a respectful and collaborative relationship between the editor and the author through the use of professional language, professional tone, and behavior. Be tactful. Approach this task like a diplomat. Explain to the author that although this is his book, your role is to make it an excellent product. Do not make any major changes in the manuscript without the permission of the author. 4, guard yourself. The editor must recognize the risk of being constantly in critique and correction mode, and we must balance that orientation with healthy doses of understanding, patience, diplomacy, and empathy. Always ask, how would I feel if I were in the author's shoes? Resist the I'm right and you're wrong approach to a project, because this will just antagonize the author and discourage him from cooperating with you. And 5th, stand your ground, but leave the choice up to the author. When the author challenges your suggestion or tells you that he will ignore it, be polite, but explain carefully why it shouldn't be ignored. Still, the editor cannot force the author to do anything, so accept the fact with grace that he probably won't make every change that you suggest. Disagreements are not always bad. The friendly wrestling between the author and the editor is precisely the valuable part in the editing process. It forces the author to look at his own piece again, what aspects he is willing to fight for, and what he's willing to compromise, and so forth. So this tension and conflict between the editor and the author are what make the manuscript shine. So disagreements are not always bad. They can be a good thing, but the author always has the last word. Editors, remember that this is not your book. This is the author's property. The author's name will appear on the book cover, not yours. Therefore, the author should have the final responsibility for what is published. So I'd just like to share with you this testimony. So just maybe read it silently, or maybe I can read it aloud, right? So my first mentor in book publishing in the 1960s was Elizabeth Lawrence of Harper & Row, a literary editor from the old school who saw her role as first discovering, then nurturing writers. Lawrence taught generations of editors to treat writers with respect and their often fragile egos with tenderness. She and the editors who came up under her never forgot that the manuscript was the author's creation, and that their role as editor was to gently and in remarkably few words suggest ways to improve it. The editor's goal was to facilitate the author's best work, and a good editor never did anything to destroy author morale. So that's from Pat McNeese. Okay, the third building block is collaboration. The editor and the author need to work together in unity to achieve a common goal, and that is publishing a book that will draw readers to Christ and meet readers at a point of need. Collaboration means working closely with the author to produce a book that is excellent in content and quality. This relationship involves a lot of back and forth communication. Collaboration is important because different perspectives improve the product. In this relationship of collaboration, the editor plays a supporting role. The editor is not the author's boss. Now, what are the important roles that the editor plays in this collaborative relationship with the author? The editor plays the role of counselor, and as counselor, the editor provides objective insight, clear advice, and guidance. When an author gets too close to his work, it's easy to miss gaps in logic and errors in grammar, spelling, and punctuation. The editor's job is to help the author identify and correct those errors. The editor provides perspectives from the point of view of the target reader based on his knowledge of the market. And the editor gives meaningful feedback. The editor also plays the role of encourager. Let the author know what you like about his work. We all know that writing is a solitary task. An author who just completed a manuscript would be greatly encouraged to hear some positive comments about his manuscript. So tell him what you like about his work. Second, give regular updates. When editing is taking a long time, the author could easily get discouraged and feel lost. A regular update on what's happening will help reduce his anxiety. Also, the editor can play the role of writing coach, especially for the new author. You can educate the author about the conventions of writing and style, and you can share helpful articles and tips on writing. And finally, the editor is the author's advocate in the publishing house. The author needs to be reassured that the editor is giving his book the time and care it deserves. Next to the author, the editor should be the most invested in the book. It is your job as editor to spread the excitement to everyone in the publishing house, especially to the marketing folks. So in collaboration, it is important to start right. Collaboration between two creative people will understandably pose potential problems. To avoid these, the editor and the author need to make important agreements at the beginning of the editorial process. Agree on a clear vision for the book. Make sure that the author's vision aligns with your publisher's vision. Agree on what to expect from each other. Explain to him what you will do with the manuscript, what tasks will be performed, how long each task will take, when they will be completed, etc. And be clear about each other's expectations. Agree on a timeline to which both of you can commit. Keep in mind your other book projects. Know the author's commitments, his family life, his responsibilities, his speaking engagements, his travels, etc. Consider the random, unforeseen issues that are beyond your control. And be flexible. Agree on how you will communicate. Will it be through regular meetings or through email only? Will it be by phone or text message? How often? Should it be weekly, monthly, or as needed only? So it's important for you to agree from the start. And number 5, agree on a style guide. So on the style guide, you will agree what Bible version to use, what style manual to use, maybe the Chicago Manual of Style, or you should agree on a style sheet, the spelling, capitalization, punctuation, words to spell out, words to abbreviate, and so forth and so on. So this is a sample of a style sheet that you can use. So like you can divide that into columns and rows. So you see here example, like you agreed to capitalize gospel and to spell traveler with just one L. So all the style in the manuscript should be put on the style sheet. Okay. Humility is the key to a collaboration that works. Keep in mind that many authors have a fragile ego. As for the editors among us, leave your ego at the door. And humility is shown in concrete action. Appreciate the unique qualities that the author brings to the table. Be open to the new things you will learn from him as you work together. Do not impose your editorial quirks and preferences on the author. Pray for him and share your own prayer needs as well. Also, celebrate milestones and successes. This is the best part. Do not wait for the book launch to toast your accomplishment. Go out for coffee when your author completes his rewrite, or treat him to tea when you finish editing, or treat him and the editorial team to ice cream when the book goes to press. So all of the hard work should be rewarded. At OMF Literature, instead of holding a grand book launch, we invite our authors and illustrators to a simple book dedication, and we hold it at our conference room. So the management and the staff, we have fellowship with the authors, we listen to them talk about not just their books, but also the personal concerns that they want to share. And then we take time to pray for them and for their new books. And after that we share a simple meal. So we do this 1 week before the opening of the Manila International Book Fair. The reward of collaboration is beyond words. Collaboration is hugely rewarding, and it is an enriching experience both for the editor and the author. For editors, it is deeply satisfying to finish a book project knowing that this resulted to mutual excellence. Working with the author has improved our editing as much as the author improved his writing. It's very satisfying to know that we played an important role in fulfilling the author's vision for the book, and that the impact of our collaboration is immeasurable and eternal. So we've already covered 3 building blocks to an effective editor-author relationship: trust, mutual respect, and collaboration. The 4th building block is communication. The editor-author relationship works best when communication between both sides is clear, kind, and honest. Like trust, mutual respect, and collaboration, communication that is clear and transparent has to start at the beginning of the editorial process. Clear communication from the very beginning helps avoid misunderstandings and unnecessary tension. So, how can we avoid misunderstandings? Do not assume that the author knows what is going to happen once his manuscript is submitted for consideration or is approved for publication. Help the author understand the steps in editorial and production, promotion, and distribution. Take time to explain this on your first meeting with the author. Reassure the author that he will have a chance to read and approve the edited manuscript before it is set in type. One of the fears of the authors is to lose their control on their work once it gets into the hands of the publisher. It is useful to reassure the author that he will have the final say on the manuscript. So at OMF Literature, we make sure that the author reviews the ready-to-print file or typescript and signs his approval to go ahead with the printing before we go to press. This is a safeguard for the editor in case errors are discovered after printing. Since both the editor and the author check the manuscript and they both missed those errors, they could then be gracious to each other and relax. However, the editor should make sure that these errors are corrected in the next printing. So, what do we need to communicate to the author? First, communicate the publication goals. Assure the author that you and your publisher want to produce a book that is as excellent as it can be, both in content and quality. Assure the author that you and your publisher will work towards the success of the book in the market, and be clear on the purpose and the intended readership or the target market. Second, communicate clear expectations. Clarifying expectations from both sides avoids misunderstanding and creates a professional and productive relationship with few glitches. So what do you need to communicate? The expectations. Let the author know what he can expect from you. He can expect you to help him achieve his vision and not change it. He can expect you to make sure that the manuscript is readable and flows from beginning to end. And he can expect you to give honest feedback and constructive advice to improve the manuscript. Explain clearly what he is expected to do. He is expected to be ready to revise, so he should not hand over the work of revising to you. He's expected to follow the style sheet, to secure the necessary permissions. That is not the editor's work, it's the author's work. To submit deliverables on the deadlines agreed upon, and to read the final proof and grant approval to print. What does he have a say in and what doesn't? As the author, he has the final say in the suggestions you will make. But it is the publisher that decides the publication date. Also agree between you and the author. Does the author have a say in the book design and the cover? So it's up to the publisher. You have to relay it to the author. And what is the author's involvement in marketing the book? Okay, so we said communicate the publication goals, communicate clear expectations, and third, explain the publication process. Explain what happens at every stage of the process and how long it takes. So authors who understand the process of publication are less likely to complain about delays and unforeseen problems. Inform the author if the manuscript would be handed over to a copy editor or to a backup editor, but reassure the author that you are overseeing this as the project editor. Also, help the author understand that you are also working with other book authors, all of whom, like him, are priorities to you and your publisher. Fourth, agree on a timeline. Be realistic with the schedules and deadlines for deliverables. And fifth, agree on how you will communicate. Are you comfortable communicating through Facebook or Messenger? Can he call you after office hours? Can he call you on weekends and holidays? So you have to talk about that at the outset. And agree on an acceptable waiting time for a reply to emails. Is it 24 hours, 2 days, 1 week? So agree on all of these. Okay. Listen actively. Affirm the author's vision and hope for the book. Show an interest in the story behind his manuscript, why he wrote it, what challenges he encountered while writing it, how long it took him to write. Encourage him to be open about his concerns or questions on the editorial process, on promotion, marketing, distribution, on royalty payments, and probe on matters that seem to worry him. Be sensitive to nonverbal cues and communication styles. Especially for us, Asians, we communicate through nonverbal cues. So we are very good at that. All right? And then keep communication lines open. Give regular updates. Reply promptly to his emails. Inform him of any major changes and why, like changes on the publication date, change on the cover, change on the specs of the book. Make suggestions, putting the emphasis on improvements, not corrections. Keep in mind that the manuscript belongs to the author. Therefore, be cautious in handling his words and the facts that he gathered through research. And keep your feedback honest and your criticism constructive. Fifth, communicate with confidence but with gentleness. Keep in mind that going through the long process of editing a book can be difficult for both the editor and the author. To make the editorial process pleasant and productive, try your best to be clear, kind, and honest in your communication with the author, and to be professional without losing your personal touch. Keep in mind always to speak the truth in love. Last building block is commitment. In Christian publishing, the editor and the author embrace the same mission of drawing people to the Lord through the printed word. We both share the same goal of proclaiming the message of the good news in Jesus Christ. We both want to reach the same market, men and women or children who read books to find answers to their questions and solutions to their problems. And we serve the same master, our Lord and Savior Jesus, who is the living word himself. These commitments compel us to be committed to each other as we take on the task of creating a book together. The editor-author relationship is not always smooth and easy. There will be tensions, conflicts, and discouragements at times. It could be exhausting, it could be frustrating at times. But when both the editor and the author give their best efforts to nurture a relationship built on trust, mutual respect, collaboration, communication, and commitment, they would certainly reap rewards beyond words. And what are these? Like an excellent book that will draw readers to Christ and meet them at a point of need, and a spiritual friendship that enriches their lives, edifies the body of Christ, and gives glory to God. So, editors, when you feel like quitting, when you're exhausted, I just want to share with you this verse as you press on with your task as editor, and also to the author as you press on with your task. I'd like to encourage you with these words from the Apostle Paul. Stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. So this is my last slide, but we have 15 minutes for Q&A. So how do we go about the Q&A?
Thank you so much, Yna. That's really a very thoughtful, insightful, very encouraging presentation.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yes, we would like to invite our participants to send in your questions. Take advantage of these 15 minutes. You may have some thoughts, some questions in your mind, in your heart. Yes, Tess Atienza, you raise your hand.
From the Philippines?
Yes, use the Q&A or the chat to send in your question. My question, Yna, is what is the difference? I mean, in some instances, the author hires the services of an editor, a freelance editor. So it's not really a publishing house choosing a manuscript and then assigning an editor to work with the author, but the author hires the services of an editor. So how is the dynamics of that relationship, given that you are paying the editor for his or her services?
Well, even if you are paying the editor has his expertise, and it is his role to protect you from yourself. It is the editor's job to make sure that you don't look stupid before the readers. So listen to the editor's advice, because the editor has your best interest in mind.
Okay.
But being the author, you have the last say.
I see.
On your manuscript.
Okay. Yeah. So the roles are still the same, even though, so the editor should not be all subservient, but to be professional.
Oh yes, the editor
giving the advice.
Yes.
To the author.
Yes.
So
because
not just
he's being hired for his expertise and experience, for his knowledge of the target market, things that will be helpful to the author.
Okay, thank you. Muthoni Mercy is asking, what extra skills do you need as a book project manager, going between an editor and an author?
Book project manager.
Yeah.
Okay. First, you need to have good communication skills so that you can communicate what you want both the editor and the author to accomplish. And of course, you should have editorial knowledge as well, so that you understand the different stages of the publishing process. And you really need to listen to both the editor and the author so
Mhm.
that you know what challenges they are facing. Also, you need to be a good time manager because you are managing a project which has deadlines. So
Mhm.
every stage of the publishing process has a deadline, and we need to keep to the deadline. Of course, that is one of our biggest challenges as editors and publishers. Yeah. Time management is very important.
Mhm.
So time management, communication skills, and knowledge of the publishing process.
Thank you. Uh, Tessa Chensa is asking, how do you encourage the authors to market their books?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have online platforms. So encourage the author to create his blog, his own blog, talk about his book, or to
Mhm.
create a Facebook page, create a Twitter account, an Instagram account.
Mhm.
All these are available to us. So, and if the author does not know, take time to train him, to show him how, because it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Yeah.
So, so the
And
editor,
wherever he goes, mm-hmm, yeah.
so the
Yeah.
editor should be knowledgeable about social media as well
Oh,
to
yes.
teach
Yeah.
the author how to.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Anonymous attendee is asking,
Mm-hmm.
how would you deal with an author with a politically charged project? That is, the author is the friend of a manager, the CEO, a board member, or herself, uh, herself or himself a board member. So,
It's it's a politically charged manuscript.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, it depends on what the aim of the book is. Like if the aim of the book is to show a political stand, then I think that's not a problem. So it really depends on what really is the goal of the book. Um, or are you also saying that the problem is his connection with the board?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
friend of the
yeah, that
CEO.
is, yeah, yeah. Yes, that is a big problem, a very big problem. But if you could talk to your CEO and tell him your concern and tell him gently that also that it will be helpful to you as an editor if he could back off. But say it gently, not those words. But if you can tell him that he lets you handle this project,
Mhm,
because it's really hard when a board member is involved. You know, it is very hard for the editor to be objective
mhm,
and to feel safe.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's it.
Mhm. Review the webinar again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Any other question from? Yeah. Several of our participants are greeting you, Ina, and thanking you for your presentation. Thank you very much for this valuable session on editor-author relationship from Jacob. Galaxy, thank you so much, Ina. Your good presentation. God bless you. From May Thin in Myanmar. Yes.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Other questions from Musoni Mercy? Is it advisable to have an independent proofreader after the editorial process?
yes, it is advisable
Mm-hmm.
because the editor is already too close to the project. So he reads it with his mind, not with his eyes anymore. So you
Mhm.
need an objective pair of eyes to read the manuscript again.
How deep is that in the process? Is that towards the end, or in the middle of, or at the start?
Yeah, it's towards the end before you go
Okay,
to press. It's the typescript,
I see.
the copy that is to be sent to the printing press.
Okay, okay. Excellent presentation. Thank you, says Beng. Thank you, Beng, for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
Ben. You're my friend.
uh, Tessa Chensa is asking, how do you tell an author that part of his manuscript is plagiarized without offending him?
Well, you will have to speak the truth in love.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way. Speak the truth in love and show him that it is plagiarized.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it should be like in OMF. We have a stipulation on plagiarism, so
Mm-hmm.
it's part of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So we tell the author that if we discover that a part of the book is plagiarized, he will be accountable, and he may be charged for the cost that has been made if the book has already been printed.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
better to address the issue right away
yeah,
before it goes to press.
yes,
So
yes.
no matter how hard it is, uh, tell
Mm-hmm.
him or her without offending. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speak the truth in love. Abdul Salam is asking, what does the author do when the work gets rejected unnecessarily?
Oh, what does it mean
To get
unnecessarily?
unnecessarily. What do you mean, Abdul Salam? When the work gets rejected unnecessarily. So maybe this is from the author's point of view, I suppose. Um, well,
Mm-hmm.
every rejection has a reason, right,
Yeah,
Ina?
yes, yes, yeah. Every rejection has a reason. It could be that your manuscript does not fit in the publishing program of the publisher. It
mm-hmm,
could be that they cannot market your book, that there's not a big enough market for the book. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Or it could be it doesn't meet the publishing standards of the publisher.
mm-hmm.
So every rejection has a reason. Yeah.
And the author should take the reasons seriously. Improve the
Yeah.
manuscript.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Improve the
try again.
manuscript.
Try again.
Try again. Yeah.
Submit.
Yeah. Yes, because
Submit.
the best writers, the best authors have been rejected many, many times
Mm-hmm,
before they have been published. Like
mm-hmm,
the author of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling.
mm-hmm. So be encouraged that
Yes.
rejection is not the end.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and I encourage authors to ask representatives of their target readers to review their manuscript, not just their friends, because their
not
friends
just the
will always tell them that they like your work and go ahead with it. So send your manuscript to people who you think will tell you the truth.
okay. Okay. That's a very good advice. Okay. Our time is we're about to end our session. As our yes, Jeanette Galagala
Oh, Jeanette
Nacion.
Galaga, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Hi,
Uh,
Jeanette.
can you give examples of a challenging project and how you handled it?
Challenging project and how we handled it. Well, the most challenging project we had so far was an an author. Um, that's very hard to answer.
Very,
But there there are times when the author goes in a different direction different from what the publisher's vision is, you know. And like the original manuscript that was sent to you, which you had reviewed, the editor rewrote and made major changes, which made the manuscript so different from what you agreed on. So what I did was I gathered reviews from target readers and asked them to give their comments. And I had to write a difficult uh, email to the author explaining to him why we need him to make these changes. And I sent him verbatim some of the reviews of the manuscript readers so that he will know that your feedback does not come just from you, but from the target readers themselves. You know, this is really difficult, but the important thing is to say the truth. The truth will always hurt, no matter how gentle you say it will always hurt. But always say the truth, speak the truth in love, and before sending an email, have somebody else read it first. Okay, so ask that person, do I sound rude in this email, or did I use the right word? Because every rejection or every hard message is already painful. So be very, very careful. Be very, very careful.
yeah. Thank you, Jeanette, for asking that difficult question.
Yeah, it's a difficult question.
Felici is saying,
Hi, Felici.
Yes, blessed by this presentation and for allowing us to eavesdrop and understand editors better. We know what to cover in prayer from the start. Thank you, Felici. Sean is wrote, huge thanks for this wise, timely, gracious presentation, Yna. Timely because I plan to write to an author today and need your reminder. Speak the truth in love. I've taken a lot of notes and will no doubt read it again and again as I interact with authors. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Okay, Yna.
Oh, here's my email.
Oh, yes.
They can email me if they have questions. They can email me.
So what is your email address?
There, Yna Reyes at omflip.com.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your email address. Okay. Any parting words, Yna? Any last words to encourage our editors?
All I can say is that I love editors, and without editors, we will not have good books. And editors play an important role in an author's ministry. And I just hope that, you know, like what Joyce Chaplin said, no, let's keep this in mind, that writers are our friends.
Yes. Thank you very much. Arceline, Sue, thank you. Thank you everyone for participating in today's webinar. Our much gratitude to Yna Reyes for sharing valuable insights, her experience for 29 years, just being available for us today. Thank you very much, Yna. And
yes, and I'll be happy to hear feedback from them.
Yes, so send your feedback, email Yna, email me, And I will also send you the link to this recording and also share Ina's PowerPoint. Is that all right, Ina? I will
Yeah.
also share your PowerPoint slides to our
Yes.
participants. So let me remind everyone that MAI's webinars come to you for free. So if you benefited from this resource, you may want to help MAI. Go to our website, litworld.org, if the Lord is touching your heart to give a donation so we can continue with the webinars, and use the comment box in our website. Thank you so much again. See you again next month. One of our participants is actually the presenter next month, Muthoni Mercy. And the topic will be how to organize a Christian writers group.
Oh.
So Muthoni Mercy and her team at CLC Kenya, they've been very successful in organizing and encouraging the authors in Kenya. So I hope to see all of you register for next month's webinar. So God bless you all. Have a good day. Have a good night for those who are in a different time zone. And Ina, take care. God bless you all.
Mabuhay.
Mabuhay.